Welcome in, my name is John, staff software engineer with over 10 years of experience. I'm the lead maintainer of Latterly.io, an open source educational platform that will help you learn to code and land your first or next programming role, as well as grow your professional network with an emphasis in tech. In today's video, I'd like to give you an introduction, an overview of web development. We'll cover HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, our core web development technologies, in addition to source control and IDEs and other auxiliary programming skills. All of this in under 15 minutes. At the end of the video, you will have a working public website, and you will be able to begin demonstrating your experience as a software developer, unique to all other introductions to web development, because Latterly has an emphasis on landing a professional role. We will ensure that every minute you spend learning also counts as experience in the eyes of the employer. This video will take an AI-first approach, teaching you to code so that we can accomplish in 15 minutes what traditionally might take us an hour and a half. I will be recommending that you use Cursor, the AI code editor, and in particular, I want you to use the Pro version if possible. They have a free tier, but I greatly encourage you to use the Pro version. Let's continue to cover some other prerequisites. We will be using GitHub. You can create a free GitHub account. You will want to download Node.js, which is going to allow us to run JavaScript on our computer. And you will want to download Git, G-I-T. That's the first link here. If you Google Git, we're looking at git-scm.com. This is for source control, which will allow you to save your code in the cloud so that you can build a public portfolio rather than only tinkering on your own computer where no one else can verify your experience. If you would like to see an introduction to web development without AI, check the link in the description for the Trial by Fire version 2, which is the previous way that I gave this introduction to web development, taking there about an hour and a half. I think in 2025 and later, you want to take an AI-first approach, but even in this AI-first approach, you can optionally supplement by learning the way that we used to operate, and knowing both can be an asset to you. One last note before we dive in: if at any point you find yourself getting stuck, I hope you'll visit the community dropdown at Latterly.io and you can join the Discord for free. Frankly, I hope you'll join the Discord even if all goes well, but particularly if you're having trouble, you don't need to go it alone. Come ask for help. We're very happy to help. So now that you've created a GitHub account, I will walk you through the steps to create a code repository. A repository is a location on the web where you can save your code on the web so that it becomes a public profile. Here I'm at github.com/Vanderveer. That's my own public profile. To create a new repository, I will click the plus button and I will click New Repository. That brings me to this view, and I can enter some fields as follows. So follow along with me. I'll choose myself as the owner. I will call this repository Trial by Fire v3. You might just call it my blog or vanilla HTML blog. You might have guessed that the Trial by Fire is the name to my crash course introduction to web development, and I have a few versions, so that's the reason that I'm giving this a v3 moniker. For description, I will say a single page HTML vanilla blog. None of this is too crucial. What is crucial is that you tap the public button here, and I want you to add a README, a git ignore file based on Node, and I like to use the MIT open source license. Then let's click Create Repository. Moments later, we're here on this code repository, and GitHub has placed a few files in this folder for us. I'll click on the green code button, copy to clipboard, and now I'm going to open up Cursor. So I hope you've already installed Git, Git, and Cursor. You'll need them both for this next step. So here I am in Cursor. I'm going to select Terminal, New Terminal, and I want you to make sure that you're using Bash. If you're on Windows and you installed Git, you should be able to use Git Bash, and if you're on Mac, Bash will be installed by default. You can also use ZSH, which is pronounced Zish. That will also work if that is the terminal installed in your Mac. Once you have a Bash-like terminal open, and that would include Zish, you will be able to cd to the tilde in mkdir, which is make directory. We're creating a folder, and I'd like you to say make dir workspace. Now I've already created this workspace, so I'm going to click Control C to cancel the operation, but you should hit the enter button. You should be able to type ls, enter, which means list, and you should be able to see workspace is in that folder. If you have too many items showing up so that it's hard to confirm whether workspace exists, you can ls and find this vertical character, which is called a pipe, grep workspace, and grep just filters the text to find the element that you're searching for, and I can confirm workspace is inside of the ls, filtered down for that word workspace. Now I will navigate into my workspace by using the cd command, and finally I can git clone that URL that came from GitHub. This is the same URL here under the HTTPS, copy to clipboard. And now I can cd trial by fire v3. I can press the tab key to complete the rest of the letters that I was about to type. So if I type TRI and press tab, bash will fill the rest of that folder name in for me. Now let's go to file and we will open folder. We'll go into the workspace and find that trial by fire v3. Let's select the folder. Do I want to save my workspace configuration? Let's not worry about what that means for now, so I will say don't save. And now I have loaded Cursor with my repository. Now is when the AI magic happens. Watch how quickly we're going to move forward. I'm going to press Control-Shift-P, and I'm going to type Cursor and pick New Composer. I'm going to select Agent, and this is where I can talk to a language model agent and describe in plain English what I would like it to code for me. So here I have pasted a very specific prompt. I'm telling the language model to act as a web developer and make a vanilla HTML blog in a single page. I say the title should be John's Coding Blog. Here I'm setting this up so that you can personalize the blog to you. This might be Sarah's Coding Blog or so on. Please update it appropriately. And the rest of the prompt you can copy verbatim. I've included a copy of this script in the video description. So go ahead and pause the video if you'd like to read it, or head to the description to copy it over for convenience. And I'm going to go ahead and submit this prompt. After about 60 seconds, Cursor has provided the code in the green box and then explained what it has done in the report in natural language after the green box. I'm going to click the accept button here, and this is the code that Cursor has created. Right-click the name of this file, which is index.html. Go to your browser and paste it in the browser, and notice that you have a basic website. Let's give this website a test drive. Let's try to draft a new article. I'll say, how much wood does a woodchuck chuck? And let's say a lot, and I'm going to keep repeating this so that I can force the browser to scroll. That's really what I want to test here. Notice how the article is so long now I can scroll up and down, which allows me to click these top and bottom buttons to confirm that the scroll to bottom and top features are working. These are all items that I asked for in that prompt. So we're just confirming that the code that the agent has created conforms to my request. I'm going to click the trash icon to delete this. That seemed to work. Let's make a new article, simply to test that if I refresh the page, the article persists, and it appears to do so. That is a feature added using local storage, which was another element of the request. Congratulations. At this point, you have a simple blog that you can play with. Let's take 4 more steps for 2 more purposes before the end of the video. The first purpose will be to understand the code more deeply, and the second purpose will be to publish this website to the open web so that instead of working on your own computer, it can work to anyone with an internet connection. You can send your blog to your friends and they will all be able to view it in their Chrome browser or their other browser. Let's start by understanding the code more deeply. The first step will be to read the index file. I don't expect you to know everything that's going on here, but I want you to familiarize yourself with the words and the letters and the symbols used here. Collectively, we refer to all of these characters as syntax, and the syntax is HTML. It is a language that your browser knows how to turn into pictures. The second thing I want you to do is I want you to ask the composer questions about it. For example, you can say, grab a line of code like this and say, what does this mean? Explain in simple terms. And you can repeat this process for any snippets of code that you find interesting. I would like you to ask a minimum of 5 questions to understand what's going on more deeply. You don't need to know everything that's going on, but let's try to ask 5 questions to understand one level deeper, and over time we will grow a large amount of knowledge about programming. Scrolling up to my original prompt, you can see that I ask it to ensure the site is mobile friendly, accessible, and so on. In particular, I encourage you to ask questions about what these elements mean. What is semantic HTML? What is SEO metadata? The third step that I'd like you to do is click this icon that looks like 3 circles and some lines between them. This is the source control tab. Click the plus button by the index file. In this text box above, type FEAT:// and init web page. This is a saving message. We are going to save this code and send it to GitHub. For me, the code went right through because I'm already logged into GitHub. If it's your first time sending code from Cursor to GitHub, it will ask you to log in. There are a few ways to do this, and I won't cover that here. You can use Google or ask the language model to help you authenticate. Now let's go back to my repository webpage and refresh, and you can see that the index file is now available here. From here, I'll click the Settings tab and I'll go to Pages. I'll click under Branch, the drop-down, and select Main. Then I'll select Save. Let's now take the URL and go talk to the agent. Given this URL, I have activated GitHub Pages. What is the external deployed URL? And the Cursor agent will give me the URL so that I can easily visit that web page that I created. Here it is. And this website is available on the open internet. That completes today's lesson. Follow along. We'll do 3 more projects together, standard projects. By the end of that, you'll know much more about web development, and you'll be prepared to make a capstone completely unique and customized to you. Then you'll be ready to interview prep and start the job search so that you can start interviewing anywhere from an estimated 2 to 12 months from now. I hope you enjoyed the video. Drop a comment. Feedback is welcome. Consider liking and sharing. Definitely subscribe and hit the notification bell. Thank you for being here. Have a great day.